So welcome to today's session. As I just mentioned, I'm really happy to be here and at the invitation of Eureka Labs. And what we're going to talk about today is a bit about modern learning and future skills, and I guess this new world of possibilities that we have. So my name is Georgia Watson. I work for IBM in Middle East and Africa. My area of expertise is around learning and development, and we call it enablement internally in IBM. And this is an area that I'm really passionate about. I love helping individuals and organizations bring out the best in themselves and in their teams. And a great way I found to do that is actually through learning. So I've been with IBM now, working in similar areas for over 15 years. It was never my plan to stay this long, but it had just been one opportunity after another. And I've now been really blessed to work for IBM in Australia, where I'm from, in Africa, based out of West Africa, and now also in Dubai, in the Middle East. I've also had the opportunity to work with, as a consultant, working with a range of clients, ranging from, I guess, public sector in Nigeria to leading airlines here in Dubai, as well as leading healthcare providers in this part of the world as well. And I'm delighted as well. I'm not the only one speaking, as you can see from the slide. As a special guest, we have Salim Matala from our IBM West Africa project. So Salah, thank you very much for joining us. And I'll let Salah introduce himself, but he's one of our project managers based out of Nigeria, and he leads what I think is a really awesome project called IBM Digital Nation Africa. Salah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Georgia. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and good afternoon. My name is Saleh Mutala. I lead the IBM Skills Initiative program in West Africa. Similar to Georgia, I've been at IBM for close to 6.5 years now. I started my career with IBM in the UK, straight from university, and as a technical person. I've moved around into sales, into project management, and now I'm doing social impact work. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to speak to you about what IBM is doing around skills development and capacity building for Africans. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of those ideas with you. Thank you very much.
Salah will cover details around some of these great things that we do have to offer. So please make sure you stick around to hear those. There are lots of really cool things that are available at the moment. Obviously, the ongoing coronavirus pandemic has forced us to change the way that we're doing things, and we'll be talking about that a little bit today. And I kind of call it our global learning experiment. So we'll look at how learning has changed and what that means for you. Touch briefly on kind of mindset and how important that is. And then we'll talk about skills and then move on to the opportunities that you can embrace for yourself or for your organization to help you build your skills. So obviously, through the ongoing pandemic, it has created a different kind of context. So we've moved, many of us with kids have moved from sending our kids off to school every day to trying to manage virtual homeschooling. People who are attending university or who have kids at university have gone from sitting in lectures and doing prac sessions. They're now doing these virtually or remotely in different ways. Internally in IBM, we used to use a blended approach from learning, which involved a mix of already digital virtual options, face-to-face classroom sessions and pracs. And we have also, redone all our programs. So it really is digital only, because this is the way, that it is now. And I think what we'll find is that the way that we are learning as individuals has drastically changed, and organizations has changed because of this situation that we have been forced into. So it's forced us to change the way and digitize our learning, but whole organizations, of course, have had to transform to be able to continue to be successful in this digital environment. And if they haven't, they're in trouble. So I think if you're in an organization or you're part of a group that's organizing education for people and you haven't digitized your content and you're not thinking about how you can work digitally, please let me know. Happy to share some tips and advice, but it's crucial at the moment. What will also be interesting to see in the future is, now that with so many people embracing the new way of working, I'm not sure we'll go back to how we were before. If you think of, look at the cost benefit analysis for university, we all know the cost of spending 4 years to secure a university degree. What if there were a free, much cheaper option available online through a provider like Coursera? So the whole landscape has really changed. So obviously the first thing that's changed is about, there's widespread virtual learning adoption now. So this obviously impacts where, when, and how we learn, and also who we learn from. So previously, maybe we had some kind of internal learning that was on offer to us from our organizations. Maybe we had a mentor. Maybe we had someone we followed on LinkedIn or Instagram who shared learning tips. But now the breadth of people that we can follow, that we can learn from, has expanded so significantly. Basically, anybody who has time to put some content together, or anybody has a WebEx, can now run sessions. And these are sessions that you can tap to build your skills. You can go on YouTube and search an area of interest and see how many videos and how many tips and how much advice comes up. And this is actually becoming a bit of a problem, right? There's so much learning out there. It's trying to then navigate what's the quality learning, what's going to be valuable for me, what can I put on a CV that will really give me, show some value for the time that I've put in terms of credentialing yourself, as well as building your skills. The other thing that's changed, of course, is, the way that we graduate. I kind of feel a little bit bad for some of the graduating classes. They don't get that opportunity, to throw their hats up in the air. But of course, they're doing this virtually. The other thing that's changed is the way that we're credentialing, the way that we are showing evidence that we have completed some kind of course or we've acquired a new skill. So Sally will touch more on this later, but when you think about digital badges, which is a whole new phenomenon, which is a way when you complete something virtually, you can show what you've done. You can promote it on social media. You can share it with your boss or your manager. And you can add it to your CV as well as an actual credential, something that you've done, an extra skill set that you've acquired that maybe wasn't a 4-year degree. So the second thing I wanted to raise was, obviously, our world is evolving so quickly, particularly if you're working in anything to do with technology or IT. This will be very much top of your mind. So things are moving so quickly that we all have to embrace this idea of lifelong learning to remain relevant to our workplace and our industries. So if you think about, a standard IT degree that's done, so maybe it's 4 years, maybe the content was 5 years old. By the time you've finished, you've got skills that are now 9 years out of date. And things are moving so quickly, it's probably not going to give you the leg up that you thought it would in terms of getting into the job market and starting your career or starting your business. Your skills are outdated. So we need to be working in more nimble ways to make sure we have really relevant knowledge to help us in what we want to achieve. So as well as the skills, the other key thing is mindset. So like I touched on, we need to, all of us, embrace this idea of being lifelong learners. And hopefully this is something that you've heard of, about this growth mindset. So you can consider people to have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And basically what this is about your attitude towards learning. And this is really proven if you have a growth mindset. Your thinking is that you can change yourself and what you know. You can evolve and do different things. You can learn new skills, and that in that learning, that's what's going to help you get ahead. If you have a fixed mindset, you feel that your ability is limited. So you feel like, this is what I do now, and this is all I can do. This is all. And you also have this feeling that everything is based, maybe it's purely based on one particular set of skills. So this really has an impact on how successful businesses and also individuals can be, depending on what mindset they're instilling in their people. One thing I know, and that I think is fabulous from my time in Nigeria, is that there's really a strong attitude towards this growth mindset. It seems to come naturally. I remember there was a girl who was working for me, and she was fabulous and had done lots of amazing things, and her time had come to move on and do something else. I remember I was helping her put together her CV, and she started applying for jobs, and she was updating me on everything she was applying for. I was looking at the jobs that she was applying for, and I said to her, "Oh, do you think you have the skills that you need for this job?" And she sort of looked at me and she said, "Ma, I know I'll be able to do the job and I can learn it. And I thought that's what it's about. It's knowing that you can do it and being willing to put in the time to learn those skills. And maybe knowing that it might be hard at first, but you'll get there. So let's talk a bit more about skills. So I'd love to have a list of, these are the skills that you need to build. We have some suggestions, but of course it depends so much on yourself. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on where you are in your career. It depends on what you want to do. So I think with this now massive amount of education that's available, I think you need to be really clear on what you want to get out of it, what you want to learn, and really focus in on what will be most beneficial to you. But let me share a few suggestions for you. One thing we know is that soft skills continue to be valuable over time. In fact, in a survey that was done by LinkedIn, 57% of the leaders that we interviewed said that they felt soft skills were more important by hard skills. And by soft skill, I'm talking about professional skills. So these are things like creative thinking, problem solving. Now, this creative thinking this is so important as we go into the future. We have technology, we have artificial intelligence, we have robots to do everything. Nobody can teach a robot to be creative. So if you can really harness creative thinking, being creative, this is something that no machine can ever replace you for. Then dealing with people, this is something that in most jobs, most of us need to do. So basic interpersonal skills, being able to collaborate effectively, being able to present well and communicate so people know what you're talking about. The other key soft skill that we're seeing more and more demand for is being able to work in this agile way. So being able to consistently deliver quality work in a fast way. Now, the other side of the skills are, of course, that we do have this massive gap. So IBM did a survey last year, and at the time, so it was a global survey involving lots of different countries, including Nigeria and other African countries. In the survey, 41% of the CEOs that were surveyed felt that they didn't have the resources, their people didn't have the skills, and they didn't have what was needed to execute on their business strategy. So there's a massive gap in the skills. And what we also know is that in that same survey, they identified that 120 million people would need to be upskilled in the next 3 years to meet the immediate demand for jobs. And when I say immediate demand for jobs, these are the way that things are shifting and changing. So this report is a year old. So we've now got 2 years left to upskill that 120 people, and we're quickly running out of time. And of course, this is not specific to one place. It's not just Nigeria. It's not just US. It's not Australia and the Middle East. This is a global challenge. Things are changing so quickly. And while we wait for someone to finish a 4-year degree, everything has shifted so rapidly, it's no longer relevant. So there are really, the education needs are really changing so that we can meet up with the market demand. So I just wanted to stop talking for a minute and just play a video for you if the technology gods are willing. Now, I do apologize in advance because this is very US centric, but I think the messages that are coming through really affects all of us. So let me play this. Just let me know if you can't hear the audio clearly.
Out of our GMA cover story, and the future of finding work with that record-setting unemployment is the worst job market of our lifetime. And Rebecca Jarvis is here with a look at the new collar jobs and how to find them. Good morning, Rebecca. I know a lot of people are eager to hear what you have to say.
Yes, very eager. Good morning to you, Michael. These so-called new collar jobs are high quality. Companies are hiring right now, and you don't need a 4-year college degree to get them, but you do need the right training, and now IBM is offering that for free. This morning, with millions of Americans unemployed from restaurants to retail, the question on so many minds, what now?
There's a lot of worries right now. I haven't received any more unemployment payments. It's starting to get pretty tight.
Enter Ginny Rometty, former CEO, now executive chairman of IBM. She says the future is new collar jobs like cloud computing technicians, cybersecurity analysts, and IT roles. and they don't require a 4-year college degree.
Whether you were a barista, if you were in retail, you can learn these skills and have a really good job in companies like ours.
This week, a brand new and free initiative called Open PTech. IBM, along with 600 major companies, are preparing workers for these well-paying, in-demand jobs. The program offering online training in technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. Rometty speaking out about the program exclusively to Good Morning America.
And something that we learned, it isn't really about just the hard skill of can I do coding or do I know a certain kind of way to fight cyber. It is much more about some of the soft skills.
What would you say to the people in America who have recently lost their jobs?
When I learned from my mother, which she said, no one or no situation would ever define who she was. And the other thing I've always believed is this idea that growth and comfort, they never coexist. So for people who are going to be looking for new jobs, I do get it. That is going to be really uncomfortable. But there is a sense that when you're really uncomfortable is when you do grow the most and learn the most.
A very hopeful message.
Right, so I'll stop that there. So you heard here from Ginny Rometty, IBM's former CEO, soft skills are needed. You've heard about new collar skills, and we're going to talk about a little bit more about that later. Something that I think is really key, thinking about this idea of mindset, comfort and growth don't coexist. This is something that as IBM, as Salarise Health hear very often. The other thing that was mentioned was PTech, and this is a really cool program, and I just want to tell you a little bit more about it. So you can access PTech today. So PTech is actually a public-private partnership where they offer education. At the moment, there are over 200 schools in 14 different countries. The majority of those are in the US and in Western countries for now. We do have schools in North Africa, none in West Africa at the minute, but that shouldn't stop you. Because through the website and what you can see here, there's a whole range of courses that are now being offered through Open PTech. So it doesn't matter whether the school is physically in your country or your program is there, you can log on and participate and learn through these sessions. So they cover a lot of the areas that fall into this new collar area that were mentioned on the video. They also cover some basic soft skills that are needed, things like design thinking, as well as professional skills that are really useful in any kind of career path that you want to follow. And I think it doesn't really matter how senior you are into your career as well. There's always something that you can learn. Maybe you can brush up on something. And finally, the other thing I just wanted to mention, so maybe you don't want to dive into a whole big PTech program. There are lots of things that you can tap into. And there's just there's so many of these that are being promoted at the moment. Just have a look on LinkedIn and you can see. But PTech throughout next month, every Tuesday and Thursday, they're offering sessions. They are in the US time zone, so maybe not so great for some of you tuning in. But these are 1-hour sessions that you can tune into. They are designed for a younger audience or for those who are new to IT. So it's a great way just to get a taste of what is available. Other programs that you can tap into are the IBM Skills program. So again, this is another program that extends on these areas where you can learn more. Now, before we talk more about programs that are available, the final thing that I just wanted to mention is, of course, in this new way of learning, it improves access to different kinds of education, which is pretty obvious. And it also, of course, impacts the cost that you can access quality education for, which means you can then reach a wider population. So I wanted to share a few resources with you that are readily available for everybody to access. If you think about LinkedIn, LinkedIn has a really extensive learning program. So you can log on to LinkedIn at any point in time, their learning program, and find a really wide range of different learning. They range from 4 hours to 50 hours, depending on what you want to commit, and on a range of different topics. And if you want to get into something more technical or more detailed, you can do that as well. If you want to learn about Python and Kubernetes, then there are classes around that as well. So I encourage you to go and have a look at the content that is there if you're looking to do some learning. Other courses you might like to check out are, of course, edX. So this is another institution that offers great training. So edX and some of the other providers that I'm going to mention shortly partner with leading universities to offer education. So you can study online and come out with a certification from Harvard University, and you're not going to pay what it would normally cost you to not only school at Harvard, but all the travel costs and the living costs that go with it. So Coursera is another one doing the same thing, partnering with leaders in the market, thought leaders, and leading universities. You can do a course from 5 hours or up to hundreds of hours and get a degree from Duke, Stanford, or Penn. These are kind of things that are really great to put on your CV. And at the moment, a lot of these are offering free courses. I know Coursera, they have a wide array of what were formerly paid courses are available free, but act on it quickly. So I believe it expires at the end of next month. So enroll for your courses and take advantage of these. For those who are maybe more experienced and more senior as well, I can recommend Exec Online. This is something that we use internally at IBM. It is targeting far more experienced leaders. But again, this is offering really high quality training, again, in partnership with renowned business universities from around the globe. So you can commit, enroll for a 3-week or a 6-week course, and you commit 5 hours a week to that course, and you can come out of it with a certificate or a diploma, a certification from Berkeley or MIT. Pick the school of your choice, depending on what you're interested in. The final one I just wanted to mention, this one just landed with me. So Harvard is also now offering some courses for free. So thinking back to previously, the kinds of education that we can access, it is now so expanded. So yes, you can learn from a blogger on YouTube, and you can also learn from a leading professor at Harvard University, both for free. The final thing I encourage you to tap into that I think we often don't add a lot of value to are events and activities that are being offered by thought leaders in different areas. So if you think of organizations like IBM, we really regularly offer events for our clients and for partners, and basically anybody who is interested can attend now that these are being offered digitally. So think Digital Summit Africa used to be an annual event that was held only in South Africa, huge event, massive sessions, big budget affair. And last week it was all available online. Anybody could go in and have a look, learn from the sessions, and add that skill and that knowledge that they have. And of course, many institutions are doing this as well. Of course, it's not just IBM. So if you have an area of interest, whether it's broad or whether it's niche, find out who the players are in that area and see what events they have coming up that maybe you can tap into to learn some more. Now, there's another great way that you can learn some more, particularly around these new collar skills that you heard Ginny Rometty talk about earlier. So I'd like to hand over to Sala now to tell you some more about what's available. So Sala, over to you.
All right, Georgia, thank you so much for setting the context and giving us an example of what IBM and also what's happening in the world, particularly around the COVID situation. As we can all agree, COVID-19 has accelerated a lot of digital transition and transformation across industries. And with that comes with the requirement for us to upskill ourselves in different areas, not just in technology, but also in our businesses. So I'll just share with you some of the things that we're doing in Africa, particularly in Nigeria and the neighboring countries, to upskill our citizens and also get our youth engaged. Next slide, please, Georgia. All right. So like Georgia mentioned, in Africa, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, our CEO, Ginny Rometty, launched a program called IBM Digital Nation Africa. And the main reason why we launched this program was around the skills crisis, like Georgia mentioned, that we're seeing globally, not just in Africa, but across Europe and America as well. Traditionally, universities churn out graduates from a 4-year degree program or 5-year degree program. But as we see technology transforming at a very rapid pace, the skills change and the skills demand from industry employers also change. So today, if you graduate with a computer science degree, the skills that you come out with might not necessarily be what the employer is looking for. So in order to connect or to solve that disconnect in terms of academia and industry, we came up with the IBM Digital Nation Africa platform to provide youth and students with digital skills. Essentially, the program helps to enable Africans with knowledge and tools to innovate, design, and develop their own digital solutions. In addition to that, we partnered with leading recruiting firms in Africa so that we could connect youth and entrepreneurs to jobs out there in the market. In Nigeria, we partnered with Jobberman. So as you go onto the platform, you're picking up the skills. The artificial intelligence behind the platform helps you to map out the jobs that are out there based on the skill set that you've been able to build. So the key message here is the platform is available for skills development on emerging technologies. It helps you to innovate and build on the IBM cloud, and also to be able to search for jobs, because more often than not, people keep learning and learning and learning, but then at the end of the day, what's the end result? People are always asking, what's in for me, right? So it's important to connect people to opportunities and jobs that are out there in the market. Next slide, Georgia. So what is Digital Nation Africa and who do we target? So like I mentioned earlier, it's around basically skills enablement on technology. So things like cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, etc. And really this applies to different personas and different audiences. So you could be an entrepreneur, or you can be a startup person, or you can be a high school student or university student, or you could be a professional already in the industry, but you would like to upskill yourself. Georgia spoke about how professionals are also leveraging like different platforms out there to be able to upskill themselves. So I think this is one of them that you can really develop core competencies in technology. As the world goes into a technology mode or a digital mode, I think this is a perfect opportunity for people to take up this opportunity, not just to gain deep expertise, but at least have the basic information about cloud computing, about AI, about blockchain. It makes you become more employable. It makes you become more competent. It makes you explore different opportunities out there in the market for you. Next slide, Georgia. So this is just around, again, mentioning the key critical areas that we address. So skills, which is very important, but also innovation, right? We see a lot of things that are outdated out there in the market, but how can we leverage things like design thinking, for instance, to be able to ideate and brainstorm on how we can be able to revamp those solutions that we have out there to be able to cater for particular industries. Last aspect is about jobs, which I would speak about more in detail in the next couple of slides. Next slide, Georgia. Right, so this is very important, and I think I'm going to spend a bit of time on this slide. So essentially, this is how our platform is being categorized and divided. So we have basically almost everything for everyone. So you could be a novice with no knowledge whatsoever on technology and come onto the platform to be able to learn about the opportunities or about the technology skills that you can get. Essentially, it's a journey, right? So you start from Explorer, which is on the left-hand side for people that are keen on learning about new technologies. Essentially, it's a series of short videos that you can learn quickly. It introduces you to the emerging technologies with examples of how those technologies are being used. Essentially, it's very flexible. So you can just go into the platform in 5 minutes and 10 minutes, like pick up a video on cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and be able to learn something from it, right? I've had a lot of stories and testimonies from people across Africa on how they've come into the platform with little knowledge whatsoever. I'll just give a quick story of two ladies that I met in northern Nigeria in Juna, who were into fashion design. So these two ladies, when we started the program with them, they were very skeptical about technology. In fact, their exact words were, technology is for boys. coding is for boys, and it's very difficult for us to learn something like this. But through persuasion and through introduction to the platform, we were able to get them to take courses within the Explorer path, in particular web design and coding. In 3 weeks, they were able to come up with a prototype for their websites. And so for me, that's pure impact. That's someone coming from literally nothing, no knowledge whatsoever in technology, and seeing how technology can assist or boost their businesses, right? The next thing is around Innovator, so which is the middle track in the green color that you can see here. It's for people that are already in the tech space. So if you're already a startup, or if you're already in the technology space, building your website or building your mobile applications, this is for you. Essentially with this, it helps you to accelerate your innovation and enable your users to bring their ideas into life. And this is where we put a lot of emphasis on things like design thinking. So how you can be able to ideate and brainstorm on your solutions and be able to learn from best practices so that you can turn those ideas into rapid prototypes. Also, this is the section where you get to play hands-on with these technologies. So you begin to have access to the IBM Cloud-led account, where you can be able to host your solutions there and be able to make it commercially available for your users to play. The next section is something that Georgia emphasized on. So Georgia, if you can go back to your previous slide, yes. So this is something that Georgia emphasized on, new color, and this is something that our CEO or chairman keeps emphasizing, right? We're seeing the rapid change or transformation in technology, and the kind of skill sets that are required in the industry is different from what academia is producing. So in order to align those skill sets to job opportunities that are out there in the market, we are particularly tailoring courses for people to take pathways that can help them to get those competencies in blockchain, in cybersecurity, in Kubernetes, in quantum computing, etc. So this is for people that are a bit more advanced and for people that would like to spend more time and get deeper expertise and deeper knowledge in a particular technology area. Next slide, Joseph. Right, so this is just an overview of some of the features and functionalities of the platform. As of today, we have over 86 courses, 280 hours of learning. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, we've categorized it into journeys, so Explorer, Innovator, and New Color. And also, it comes with a learning path as well. So if you choose to focus on the cloud, it gives you a learning path that cascades across Explorer, Innovator, and New Color, so that you can start from literally someone with no knowledge on cloud and have an expertise in deploying cloud solutions of your own. Also, the platform comes with digital badges so that you can use this as a credential to potential employers, to post it on your social media, on your LinkedIn account, so that potential employers can see your competencies. At the end of the month or towards the middle of July, we are going to update the platform with new extra courses. So we're going to have courses around industry skills. We realize that it's important for people not to have not just the technical expertise, but also to have in-depth knowledge about a particular industry. The way we've designed our platform is to cater for not just job seekers or people trying to upskill themselves, but also for people taking the entrepreneurship route. We've realized that a lot of people want to start up their own businesses, and with COVID-19, this has accelerated a lot of creativity in people coming up with ideas around how they can do contact tracing, for instance, in the health sector, lots of fintech solutions we've seen in the financial services sector. So we see it as an imperative for us to come up with courses that give people an overview around industries, expertise, and industry skills, because in order to do that T-shaped individual, where you have the technical skills on the horizontal and then the soft skills as well on the vertical aspect, so you can be able to have that all-rounded knowledge. Next slide. Yeah, so this is just an overview of what the Explorer courses are. So we have 8 courses in Explorer. They're all introductory, so coding, cloud, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, cybersecurity, etc. All these courses are 30 minutes long, and the content is in the multimedia fashion. So you can be able to watch videos that enable you to learn very quickly and essentially grasp the concept very easily. Next slide. So this is the area I was speaking about earlier around Innovator and how you can be able to start getting your hands dirty on this learning. So you start playing around with IBM Cloud, with IoT solutions, with data science, with cybersecurity, Kubernetes, etc. Typically, these courses take 2 to 4 hours each. And once you finish, it comes with a quiz at the end of it. So you have to take a quiz and pass the quiz and be able to earn the IBM digital badge. Next slide. So this is more emphasis again on the new collar and some of the job roles that we are seeing out there in the industry. Things like IoT developer, blockchain engineer, data scientist. These are things last 3 or 5 years are not very common, but we are seeing more and more organizations demand for jobs or people with this kind of skill set. So with this particular track, you can be able to train yourself on this area of new technologies, blockchain, IoT, data scientists. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a bit more advanced. It takes between 3 to 10 hours for you to be able to finish this course. And the quizzes are a bit more tougher. So you have to really spend some time to learn about this and be able to qualify for the digital badge. Next slide. Right. So I think Georgia already emphasized on this in her slides, but I just want to repeat that it's very important as well to combine the digital skills as well with professional soft skills as we go on to any venture, like whether employment or entrepreneurship. It's important to be able to have the skills so that you can market and sell yourself. It's important to know how to present properly. It's important to know how to collaborate with your colleagues. It's important to have those critical and creative thinking caps on, so that you can be able to brainstorm and come up with ideas that really solves your problems. Next slide, Jojo. So this is around the job advisor tool that we have onto the platform. So like I mentioned earlier, we've partnered with recruiting firms in Nigeria. So the way this works is leveraging our Watson artificial intelligence tool. It looks at your skill sets that you've been able to get throughout your journey on the platform, and it maps it out to jobs that are out there in the market. So this could be corporate jobs, or it could be freelancing opportunities, right? And this is the beauty about technology. So you could be at the comfort of your home, but still earning money from freelancing and outsourcing jobs out there in different countries, in Africa, in Europe, or in America. So this is really about empowerment and seeing how you can leverage yourself in opportunities that don't exist in your market, but opportunities that are out there as well in other countries. Next slide. So this is just an example of the digital badge that comes with each particular course. So you can see on the right-hand side, we have for Explorer, Innovator, and Newcomer. So this is something that you can really proudly show on your CV to potential employers. I've had a lot of people gotten job opportunities just from this, because it's really a good credential and a testament to show that you have the knowledge and competency in this technology area. It really goes a long way to tell employers that you have put in the effort in upskilling yourself, not just coming out with a university degree, but also going the extra mile to be able to gain a digital badge from companies like IBM or other course providers out there. Next slide. Okay, so I'll just pause here if there are any questions before I move on to the next program that we do in Africa. If anyone has any thoughts or any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, so I see a question in the chat around which of these courses have to do with e-commerce. So because the platform is tailored towards technology, I think you could generally use the courses around web design and coding to be able to build your e-commerce site. But I also think the design thinking course as well will help you tremendously in ideating and brainstorming on how you can serve your customers in different markets, so that you can be able to boost your products or your solutions, as the case may be. Okay, I think it's important to see how technology can make an impact in different industries. Okay, so I'll just go quickly into the other program for the interest of time. So apart from the program that we've developed for Africa-wide, we also have another program that is specifically tailored towards the academia, and it's called IBM Skills Academy. So what this does is it provides students with a career-oriented training program in emerging technologies such as data science, business analytics, big data, cloud computing, cybersecurity, etc. The way we typically run this program is we partner with leading academia or leading universities across Africa to be able to deliver this program at the universities and train the faculty and also train the university students themselves. Next slide, Jojo. So the way this program runs is it trains you on particular IBM technologies or technologies that are out there in the market. As a technology provider and a custodian of new innovation in the market, we sell a lot of these solutions to organizations in the world. The banks, in fact, 90% of the banks in Nigeria, for instance, run on IBM systems and IBM Power Service, right? So the more we sell the solutions to them, we get a lot of demand around skill sets. A lot of these banks and organizations always come to us and complain not having the right expertise internally to be able to deploy the solution. They always have to get people from Europe or people from India or from China as consultants to come and implement it. Now, we're saying, why can't we teach university students directly in Nigeria and develop a pipeline of students that can be able to fill in those roles and fill in those opportunities that exist in those banks or in those government organizations. So it's a way of fixing the problem from the roots and ensuring that in the long-term future, the next class or the next cohorts of people coming out of university have those skills that the industry demands. So there are 5 main components of this program. The first part is a career-oriented curriculum that focuses on the latest open source technologies such as Hyperledger, Apache, Node-RED, etc. And it comes with hands-on tools as well, such as the IBM SPSS, like the IBM Watson, mainframe solutions, IoT, etc. The next aspect is around access to the portal and giving you a hands-on experience about the solution. So it comes up with its own learning management functionality that gives you access to all the courses so that you can be able to navigate around and provides a lot of flexibility so that people with challenges to internet can be able to learn from different locations. The next aspect is around the academic exams. So we have exams that we typically usher in for students. The first is the practice test, where we help people prepare for the final exam. And then the final exam, which is proctored by instructors, and students have to prove their expertise on the subject that they have learned. Again, similar to the other program, it also comes with digital badges that are recognized by lots of industry players. So once you are able to pass the exam, you get an IBM digital badge that you can use to showcase to your employers. The last aspect is something very, very important that we have come up with lately. It's around a recruiter tool that IBM developed. So we have partnered with our industry partners and industry collaborators to ensure that we expose all the students that have been certified, all the students that have obtained an IBM badge to employers such as IBM, our business partners, our ecosystem of customers, so that we can help our customers and ecosystem develop the skills that are out there in the market. So a lot of the banks today in Nigeria use this tool to be able to get a pipeline of people that are skilled in blockchain, skilled in cloud computing, skilled in AI, so that they can be able to fill in the job opportunities or job roles that are out there for them today. Next slide, Georgia. So this is just an example of how you can access the platform. So you can be from the comfort of your mobile phone or your tablet or your desktop and still be able to have access to it. Next slide. Yeah, so this is just a more example about how you can access the hands-on materials from your mobile phone or from your desktop. Wherever you are, you can be able to play with these technologies and be able to see firsthand how they work. Next slide. Yeah, so this is just more demonstration on the digital badges that are out there available. It has different components and different prerequisites for people. So you could see the Explorer badge is basically on the left-hand side. The green one is for people that have passed the practice test. For you to gain a mastery award from IBM, you need to pass a proctored exam and be able to have demonstrated at least 60% of the score. So that you can be able to earn the badge. The two other last badges are really for faculty members and for instructors. So I'm not sure if that applies to our audience today. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the career sets that we focus on today. So big data, cloud application, IBM mainframe, blockchain, etc. So this is something that we can share with you after the program or after the presentation. Next slide, George. Yeah, so that's the end of my presentation. I would encourage each and everyone to sign up to the program. I'll post the link on the chat so that you can have access to it. If you have any questions, please feel free to send a message, and I'm very happy to help.
Yeah, thank you very much, Salah. So this is a really great program. So please click on the link when it goes in the chat, save it, share it with your friends. If you do want to know more about these programs that Salah has just mentioned or anything else in the area of learning, please don't hesitate to reach out to Salah and myself. So thank you. That's it from me.
Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, thank you very much, Salah and Georgia. It's been great having you guys here, and I'm sure the floor is now open. Sorry, I lost audio a while ago, but now I'm back. So I want to entertain questions, but maybe before the people in the audience ask a question, let me quickly say this, and that the IBM Digital Nation African Project platform, which is the platform we are currently having tractions for over here in Nigeria. One thing I've come to notice is that, first of all, the platform, because I've been involved in initiated by other organizations such as Facebook and Google, and I must confess that IBM Digital Nation, content-wise, is the richest. It has it's loaded with, but to my amazement, I think Salah should be the one to attend to this question, is that the awareness level very, very low. A lot of people don't know about IBM Digital Nation project in Nigeria. So I don't know if Salah can respond to that question. What are we not doing right? I have a unique link. Eureka Lab has a unique link where people register on the project, but the awareness, we try to drive awareness from our own end, but we notice that the team in Nigeria are not really is on the audience, so it will give us to what is very, very initiatives that don't have the kind of content IBM has.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Uko, for the question. So I would confess that we are not the best with marketing, right? So like part of our challenges with Digital Nation Africa is like the awareness, like you said. Content-wise, I don't think any other provider provides as much in-depth breadth like we do, but that's something that we're changing. So we are opening up more partnerships and collaborations with different NGOs and different organizations across Nigeria. In addition also to the industry players like the banks as well. So we are partnering together to see how we can make more social impact into the society. So you'll be seeing more and more of the awareness across different channels, across social media, across different print media, etc. So that's something that we're going to put in a lot of more efforts. But you're right, the content is out there and it's readily available for people, and we've seen lots of testimonials, and we're hoping that with those testimonials, people can be able to share with their network and be able to spread the word and ensure that people know about it. And most especially because it's free, so there isn't any charge or any financial requirement for people to be able to access it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Saleh, for speaking. This is Niles. Thank you, Georgia, for speaking. We really appreciate it. You mentioned a lot of skills that is available for training, and these skills, I just want to confirm that they are free. The Skills Academy, all the other ones that you mentioned, are they all free? Can you just clarify that for the audience?
So yes, I can confirm that they're free. It's part of our social impact work in Africa, and that's something that we're giving back to the society. So it's totally free.
Okay, so that was one of the questions in the room, and I think you mentioned that. I think Nicole brought up a really good question about why do we have such low engagement. I myself want to share my answer to that. I think that it is important for our people to learn to invest in their own self, right? I talk about this all the time. There are a vast amount of resources that are out there for free, technical skills, technology skills. I mean, all of these things that will make you relevant in the digital economy. And if you decide to take your 500 Naira to buy data and spend all that on Facebook, then it's your loss. It's very important that we change our mindset to take that 500 Naira, buy data, and sit down and pick a course through the developer IBM courses that are available for you online. I'm just trying to highlight that it is important for you to take the time and invest in you, because Uko is doing so much to bring these kind of conversations to you. Uko, I myself am doing so much to bring you and expose you to, but we can't make you learn the skills. We can't make you, we cannot make you invest in your own self, right? We're taking the time to make sure that you are exposed to things that are to other people, right? So that you can also have a chance at ideation. You can also have a chance at innovation. You can't say that my parents didn't pay for you to finish school. You can't blame the school, for lack of job or a lack of, funds, because you know what? We know that you have 500 Naira. And if you don't have 500 Naira, somebody around you can have 500 Naira, even if it means trading. But it's very, very important. I'm just talking to the room here that while IBM is doing their market drive awareness, the responsibility lies on us. So sorry if I went off there a little bit too long, but I am so thrilled to see what you guys are offering our people, and I am shocked. And I know several other free tools, and so actually, I think I would like to ask a question to the room. Okay, we have a lot of youth here. So now Georgia and Saleh and Co have brought this information to us. Okay, what are some of the things that will stop you taking advantages of these resources?
Good question. The floor is open.
So I'll unmute everybody. So go ahead and speak up and share. And we're not going to accuse you. We're not going to crucify you. We understand that you're speaking not just for your mindset, but people that may not be on this call. So feel free to share. Why do you think you may not take advantage of these resources?
Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Fine.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right.
Oh, good evening.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Is Denise. All right. So I know I came in late. I joined late, because like I was confused. I actually forgot about the timing and everything. So to answer this question, for me, what might stop me or what might want to like delay me in meeting up with all these programs, like economic situation of Nigeria today. Okay, like now, like I'm a student, I'm not working, so aspects of getting data to start learning all this stuff is like a setback to me, and it's going to like draw me back. Although I will keep trying to make sure I meet up, but like it's something that can draw me back. And also, can you guys see
Me,
me?
Raphael, can you mute yourself?
Okay, can you guys see me?
We can hear you. There's someone that is unmuting when I mute. Hang on, D. D, just hold on 1 second, all right?
All right, all right.
You can carry on now.
Okay, all right. So I was saying that to me, like what I believe might be drawing me back is aspects of data, because I'm a student and I'm not working. So the aspects of like getting data all the time to go like take all these courses, like I'm going to like experience delay due to that fact. And also because right now I don't have a laptop that I'm using on my own, my personal laptop, so it's also a setback, although I'm working towards it. So I just think to me those are the like two challenges I feel is drawing me back on taking all these online courses and everything.
So
Share that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, so Nels, can I just answer, can I just try and answer the question that Dee mentioned?
Yeah, go ahead and answer. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the contribution, Dee. And I think your challenge is something that lots of people across Africa share as well. Data is something that limits a lot of people from not just learning, but also from taking part in commercial activities or accessing government services. So in Nigeria, we are exploring partnerships with telcos so that we can be able to zero rate the platform and make it data free so that people accessing the platform do that at zero cost to them. Once we are able to achieve that, we will announce it and we'll make it known to you so that you can be able to do that. Regarding the question of laptops and you not having a device, we also have an app on the Android store. So you can be able to download the Digital Nation Africa app on your Android device and be able to learn on the go. So that shouldn't limit you or stop you from learning. So I think that's something that you can leverage and move on the go. So I would post the name of the application in the chat so that every single person can be able to have access to it as well. Okay. And also we have a community on Facebook, so where we regularly post items or post information around new announcements, new courses. We frequently have webinars that run every Thursdays. We had one 2 days ago and it's fantastic. So I would encourage each and every one of you to please join and participate as well. Thank you.
And also, I want to just, in addition to what you just said there, just before say what you're gonna say, in addition to what you just said there, so I want to just add one thing. So Dee, I understand that data may be a problem, and just like sellers say they're working to make that available to you guys in the future, that will be available, right? At a zero cost. But until then, he's shared with us that there is an app, and he's gonna put it in the room, which means you can phone, right? You can use your smartphone to be able to do that. So you don't have to wait for a computer, number one. Number two, you can put together a whole bunch of students, your friends that may be interested. Sit down there and use that smartphone and watch, right? You don't have to wait for a computer, because if you wait for a computer, it could be until after you finish university before you're able to obtain one. So consider, partnering with your peers and purchasing that data so that you can grow as well as everybody around you. Now, who is going to speak? I can unmute you.
I just wanted to add, that aside the app and stuff like that, at the European Labs, we do send out notifications about to some of these trainings and sessions that IBM do carry out. Those that are part of the community do connect. But I just wanted to add that yes, she made a very good observation. But the truth of the matter is that it has to do with the value system, because you might, but I can guarantee you that yes, I'm not saying that this applies to the person who asked the question, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these young people use data to watch movies. They use data to do a whole lot of stuff on social media, and this same amount of data they use in downloading movies, watching movies, or watching strategies, and they can still use the same amount of data to learn skills, to go on the IBM platform or use the mobile app. But the thing, it has to do with the mindset, the value system. They don't place premium value on learning, and that's why they give this excuse of data. I'm just trying to, for the benefit of every other person in the house, because you might say data is a challenge, but the truth of the matter is that data is not really a challenge. It is, where do you place your value? What do you place premium on? Do you place premium on knowledge? Because I see a lot of them using data for other things that are not that important, but they'll tell you they don't have data to come on a platform like this. That's basically just what I want to say, just in case there are other people in let them know that they just that they use in watching movie video on doing useful things for themselves like this.
Wow, Mr. George, that's very bold, and we appreciate you calling that out. You're right. I think it reminds me about what Georgia was talking about, is the growth mindset. You know what I mean? And so it's important to want to grow your own self. It's important to want to invest in yourself. Besides, I went to Immaculate Conception. I know that Nigerians are one of the richest students. So I'm sure you know this well. That is it not?
That's good. That's true.
Any other questions or any other suggestions? Any other can anybody share any ideas or thoughts around what will keep them from taking advantage of these that are available?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. This is Ben Ewa.
Hi, Ben.
Mr. Well, how are you doing?
Hi. Many thanks to Georgia and Sally for the presentation. And Uko, thanks for sounding like a parent. Yeah, I kind of empathize with Dee, who talked about her challenges. But on the flip side, I think that more than any other time before, there are more opportunities for young people to take advantage of platforms like this. There's a lot of institutional support. I mean, what we are discussing today is, you know, an example of such institutional support that did not exist a decade or so ago, but they are very common all over the country today. And there are also support systems from government circles. You know, when Sarah talked about zero rating, yes, I'm aware that the efforts are ongoing, even from my organization, you know, to grant zero rating to educational websites. And I think if that has not happened, it's going to happen very soon. It's one of the measures that was taken immediately following COVID, you know, as a way to ensure that learning, not just in areas like this, but in primary and secondary school levels continue. So that is there. I also agree with every other speaker, particularly on the idea that the youths need to prioritize. I don't think that a lot of them really get the message when it comes to the changing dynamics of the labor market. I hope that, you know, this current experience would help to open their eyes to the necessity of retooling, you know, beyond what the university system provides for you. The last point I'd like to make is around partnerships. I think that IBM could do well. Indeed, I'm not offering any advice here because Salah has already said so. There's going to be they're looking to open up more partnerships. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. There are lots of initiatives that can connect with what you're doing. There are innovation ecosystems that are building up in different cities across Nigeria that would be very interested in what you have, and I think that we can discuss around that and see how we can help to drive the benefits of this wonderful initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Right, Mr. George, do you want to go ahead and close us out?
Yeah.
Mr. George.
Hello.
I think Mr. Isubera or someone has something to say. Isubera, you can go ahead.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Is that
Hello.
You can go ahead. We can hear you.
All right. Who's speaking? This is Ubong Udaite. You hear me?
Yes, we can. Ubong, carry on.
All right. Good evening, everybody. All right. Thanks to the host of this meeting. All right. My problem about tech in Nigeria is not all about, you know, the skills or the forum to learn. We all have some free, you know, website to learn. And pretty much I can get myself data, though I'm a student. I have some devices, but I think we have some limitations. These limitations are, you know, not we putting those things on ourselves, but it's from, you know, let's say our environment. To me, my problem is not all about learning. It's about the implication, not the application. I meant to say, trying to apply what you have learned. Maybe going to an AI, you need a robot to, you know, after writing your codes, impute them into those devices to test. But we don't have such thing here. There are a lot more good gurus programming, you know, programmers in Nigeria that can really program. They can do cool stuffs, and they are good. I know somebody who is trying to work on, AI with his laptop, speaking without using microphone. He's working on that. But I come to see that many programmers in Nigeria are still poor, and I ask myself why. Are they not trying to solve problems? They are trying, but the limitation isn't allowing them to grow. So I think shifting stuff like these devices and giving us chances, to really go into trying to interact the software with the hardware is another area we need to look into. It's not all about learning. We are trying to learn, and pretty much some people are into it, but the application is really the problem here. So that's what I have. So good to think about that. Thank you.
Okay, now you want to respond to that?
You know, it's a bold look to say, right? I can start and then everyone else can join in. Sure. Thank you so much, Ibm, for bringing that up. The question is, if you didn't clearly hear what he said was, yeah, the problem is not about learning. The problem is not data for him. The problem is also not about the availability of resources to learn these technologies. The problem is application, right? So I understand what he's saying. You know, if you're building a code, you need to be able to actually execute it to see how it works and how it behaves. And what I want to pose to you is that when you begin to learn a technology, when you begin to learn any skills that you want to learn, what you'll find is that there's a community for that particular application or that technology. There is a community for it, right? And so you have to take the time to search out for those communities. I believe, was it Saleh or Georgia, immediately shared the Facebook, right, around where people are collectively learning these technologies. So if you are able to work with a partner, if you're able to communicate in a or meet in a community, they may be able to point you to some that may allow you to actually test out some of the things that you want to test out. So, I am of the idea that we have so many problems in Nigeria, or not in Nigeria, a lot of the developing countries, not just in Africa. But you can't be fixated on that void. You got workarounds and how you know that you want to learn coding. You know that you want to actually use it for becoming a hacker or actually becoming a developer. Then you know what? You have to be able to meet in a community or reach out to different people and say, hey, do you know somebody that knows a tool? You have to take the initiative yourself and gain those skills and look for ways to gain those resources. And so I'll let someone else speak up around that.
Can I say one more? Hello. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Still. All right. All right. Obong, still on the show. All right. I still want to speak. Okay. Are you people hearing me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Ms. Nels, has said something about the community. I think that has to do with, if you're running a software program or software testing or software test that has to do with web or other things. I mean something like AI, you creating a software for a machine to take an action. You need to sit down, study the machine, study the code, try this thing, interactively with the machine yourself, not something you give it to somebody for instance, writing a code, maybe you want a machine to be able to, let's say, work from this point to this point, and you're sending your code maybe to someone who's in US. How is that possible? How do you enjoy that kind of learning? I don't think it's really encouraging. So, I mean, something you sit down, you see what you're doing, and you see the machine taking the action. So with this, we are able to, learn better, and then maybe correct where we are making the errors or try to redact our codes. So bringing this thing closer to ourselves, is being better and not really finding a community. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, Ubang, let me jump in on this. Let me quickly say that I think first of all you need to understand that the dynamics of even learning itself has changed because yes, back in the day we learned in silos, but today we learn in community. And when we say the community, we're not just talking about community. Nigeria is not just the community. The community is a global community. So if you have to collaborate and learn with someone in the United States or learn with someone in South Africa or someone in it doesn't matter. It's about learning. I personally, when you said you don't have places to implement or you don't have, I find that very difficult to swallow because I know that there are lots of local communities. Local now, I'm not even talking about the global communities. I'm not talking about communities outside the country. Local communities that are handling projects that have to do with robotics, AI, data science, as you've mentioned. Just like Niles have mentioned, or Niles have said, you need to take time to do your research and the communities that are actually involved in the area that you have interest. Where you could collaboratively learn. Like in the Eureka Labs, we're not really into AI that much. We do more of data science and digital marketing. Now, what we do there is collaborative learning. We don't learn in silos. We call it a learning community. We expose the people around us to project-based learning in terms of when we have projects from our clients, we use that project as a platform for those in our community to learn. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And now we're talking about those in data analytics, and because that's our area, our core area of expertise, and that's where our focus is data analytics, and we're trying data science as well. But there are other communities locally that are into areas of emerging technologies, and they are having projects. Now they're having projects, not just local projects, they're even having projects in collaborations with other communities outside the country where they can have this project-based experience, experiential knowledge about how to really deploy whatever they develop in a global space. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to change your thinking. Don't look at the local community alone. The community we're talking about now is a global one, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Canada or it's in China, or what I'm saying is that it's a community. Just let go of the mindset of that you don't have a place to implement, and even if you have to learn with somebody or co-learn with someone who is in the United States, it is still learning. What we try to promote at the Eureka Lab is for people to start taking advantage of the gig economy. Now we have young guys in our labs that are already working for companies outside the country. Now they don't have to say that I acquired these skills and there are no jobs in Nigeria or there are no organizations in Nigeria who need this skill. What we're doing is that we're exposing them. Yes, you might not have companies in Nigeria who require your skill set, but you are part of the global community. So you can as well go global and look at companies outside the country who require your skills. So in the gig economy, people need to be, Nigerian young people in Nigeria need to be ready for the gig economy. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add to what I've just said.
Good evening, all. This is Humble.
Okay, Samuel, carry on.
Okay, good evening, all. This is Humble. My
Mr.
apologies.
Humble.
I came in a little bit late, but I want to respond to what Ubong said. Mine is not like a tech contribution, but somewhat motivational. I have come to realize as a business and personal development trainer that when we are committed to something, we give it what it takes. When we are interested, we do what we can. If you are really, really committed to this course, the AI thing, robotics technology, trust me, is doable. In point of fact, it is even far better now with the COVID-19 challenges, because Before, it would have been very difficult to suggest or somebody to think intuitively to go video and try to learn with someone outside here. But it's quite easier now, much easier. What I would like to encourage you to do is look at it again. Make a commitment to follow that line, because I find out that the mind works in a very interesting way. Immediately you make up your mind to be committed to a cause, you begin to be open to opportunities. They begin to come up from everywhere, and that naturally will pull people to you. You will begin to realize people around you or people around the world who can be of help to you. So these things work. Trust me, it worked. So stay your course. Let nothing deter you. Don't let the poor system, the porosity in our system, to discourage you in any way. I believe that the idea that is on you now, the pressure you feel to birth something in the AI or robotic technology area, is not just coming from the blue. Nature has its way of communicating to us. Now you have a solution that we all need. But if you allow the system, if you allow the things, if you limit if you limit your poise, your push, and your strength to the things that are around you, we will all be deprived of what you have to bring to us. So I want to encourage you, my brother, stay your track, go for it, don't stop. It will be done. Someday you tell us the story, how it started, and we'll circle back to this meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.
Wow, I really appreciate Mr. Humble for sharing that. I think that's incredible. And I just want to kind of talk about his point a little bit. Right now, what you have done, Ubong, is identify a problem, right? That you may not be able to learn this particular technology because of limitation that may be around you, right? I want to encourage you that you can take the time, evaluate all the resources that are available to you, right? And you know what? That's an opportunity going forward. So you can utilize the advice that we're sharing with you today, and tomorrow, when you have learned the technology, when you've overcome all of these institutional voids, tomorrow you can make sure that you remove that limitation for your community. You understand what I'm saying? So the idea that you see a problem, you want to become a problem solver. You know what? Because that problem becomes an opportunity. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Opportunity for you to ideate and also innovate something in the future, right? That can solve a problem, not just for you and not just for your family, but that can end up creating for the people in your area and maybe even have a global impact. So I want to offer that to you. I want to say thank you for bringing up those ideas. All right, Mr. Oko, do you want to wrap us up and then we can close for the evening?
Yeah, I just want to say, is there any other question? Do we have any other person who has a question or a contribution before we call it a wrap? Okay, it seems we don't have further questions. So quickly, let me just say thank you to Saleh, thank you to Georgia. I've been tracking Georgia for a while. In fact, I've been pestering and strolling a timeline until I got her to speak on this platform. And I'm also for finding time out of your busy schedule to do this for our community. And I want to say thank you to Niles, who has always had our back, make sure that everything goes well. We have poor network. We experience a lot of poor network downtime in Nigeria. So most times, Niles in the United States with a better network gets to host this meeting and ensure that everything works out perfectly. I want to thank everybody that has been able to make it today. And I'm sure Georgia, the slides will be available so that we could share to members of the community. The community is far larger than these, just because of the mindset thing we talked about, the data, people being sensitive about the data. They would rather want to watch the replay, the recorded version, than even come live stream. So I hope after this, this will be available, and now is going to make sure the video is also that we could share on the community, and also how we can encourage people in our community to upscale and reskill in order to position themselves for the fourth industrial revolution. So thank you. Georgia, anybody has anything to say in closing?
No, I'd just like to say thank you very much for the opportunity, and continue learning, guys. I know it's not easy at all, but there's great things out there. And like was mentioned earlier in the discussion, if you can really focus on something, there's a way that I'm sure you can find to make it work for yourself. So just embrace what's there, and I wish you very best and all the success ahead. Thank you, Uko.
So, House?
Let Saleh say something? Final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity, everyone. And I wish you all the best. Please take advantage of all the platforms that we shared today, especially during this moment where people are at home and we're trying to stay safe. So try as much as possible to upskill yourself, and I'm sure it will have more and more positive outcomes for you. Thank you very much.
And thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. And I guess we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.